Hello students, welcome you all to Sunya IAS. Today's topic for mains article discussion is India and Middle East relations. Like India and Middle East relations have seen a departure from the traditional approach. One of the entrenched principles of India and Middle East relationship has been the principle of neutrality. There had been an ideological taboo in following the extended hand principle with Middle Eastern. But right now we are seeing that India is signing comprehensive economic partnership with UAE. India is signing free trade agreement with Gulf Cooperation Council. India is involved with US, which was an ideological taboo in the Middle Eastern relationship because India is all weather friend with Russia also. Therefore, traditionally, India was either opposing US into the Middle East and following the principle of neutrality. But right now, along with US, we have given way to I2U2 also. Okay, so these are the scenarios under which this topic becomes very important because of a traditional departure from the approach, and we must understand why there was an ideological taboo. Understand that. First of all, we always focused on our neighborhood. Neighborhood first policy. Okay, look east policy, act east policy that got converted. Okay, now we were focusing only on the neighborhood because of the richness into the mineral oil reserves. 50% of India's dependency for the crude oil is from the Middle East countries, from the Gulf nations. We have a huge diaspora contributing to approximately 2% of our GDP. So these are the reasons we are now focusing on the Middle East. Understand what was the ideological taboo? We focused on our neighborhood first policy. And after that, Arab Israel conflict. And India always supported into it Palestine cause. Now you understand the scenario. India always supported Palestine cause. Recently, you all know that Hamas attacked Israel. And in retaliation, the whole world condemned this act. India also condemned this act where Hamas attacked Israel. India came into the support of Israel. But later on, the attacks from the Israel to the Gaza Strip that we are saying, the hospital was bombed. There, India has to come again in the favor of Palestine cause. So India is now acting as a balancing wheel into the Middle East. What we are balancing, let's understand. On one hand, the global major power US. On the other hand, we have China. Both are very much active in the diplomacy into the Middle Eastern region. India is using its access to influence certain vision into the Middle Eastern region because of our economic dependence, because of our energy security, because of our diaspora and growing stature of India at the global level. We are seeing a departure between India's relationship with Middle Eastern nations. Now let's look at an overview of this relationship. Let's look into political relations. Here you see that visits. Our Prime Minister became the first Prime Minister in 2015 to visit UAE after 30 years. After 30 years, which was again followed back in 2018 2019. You understand one thing, that political relations, now this particular Middle Eastern region is rich into economic prowess. They are also diversifying their economy. Therefore, we need to go and meet them and let them understand what is the potential of India into growth so that more and more investments can come. Therefore, these visits were rewarded. We will talk about them also. Our Prime Minister was also conferred with Order of Zayed Award, the highest civil decoration award in UAE. Okay, he was also conferred with King Abdul Aziz Shah Award by Saudi Arabia, King Hamad Order of Renaissance by Bahrain. So these awards were there given to the Prime Minister. These, therefore, political visits started. Now let's understand economic relations. Trade partners. If I'm talking about trade partners, recently we know that free trade agreement FTA with Gulf Cooperation Council, CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement with UAE, where most of the gold industries are being benefited. And UAE is the third largest trading partner, whereas Saudi Arabia is India's fourth largest trading partners in the Indo-Gulf region. Third largest and Saudi Arabia fourth largest. So when you understand economic relations, political visits are happening, trade relations are improving in terms of economic partnership. Now here you see the investments must be coming. Riyadh has given a commitment of 100 billion US dollars. Riyadh has given a commitment of 100 billion US dollars as an investment into India. Moreover, Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi have set to put a largest refinery into India in the Ratnagiri. Largest refinery of the world. This could be a good important fact for your prelims also. Ratnagiri refinery. Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi have decided that they will be setting up it in India. Now, energy security. Students understand energy security has always been an important dynamics. India is shifting from fossil-based energy to renewable-based energy. But if you look at the report of International Energy Agency, IEA, it will say that although the rate at which renewable energy or the energy transition is happening, but the consumption of fossil fuel has also been increasing. It might be counterintuitive to you because for the civil services preparation you would be reading about so many things that yes, we are transitioning into energy. Paris climate deal is happening, but the consumption of fossil fuel has also been increasing, and therefore to secure that energy parameter we are dependent for our 50% of crude oil requirements, 50% of crude oil requirements from the Gulf region. So 50% of our energy demand is met by Gulf region. Why we should not have a better relationship with them? Why should not be interested into their foreign policy diplomacy? Again, important factor. Diaspora. If I talk about Indian diaspora, so many peoples are living over there. India, if having better relationship with Middle Eastern countries, Gulf nations, then we can talk about better lifestyles. Better remittances will come. If I talk about, certain data that 9 million expatriates are living into the Gulf region, and they are contributing to approximately 2% of GDP. 2% of GDP. Getting this point? And India's whatever remittances we are getting from Canada, we are getting from US, more than two-thirds of remittances are generated. Two-thirds of remittances are generated from the Indian diaspora into the Middle Eastern region. And with energy security, economic relations, we need the security in general. The security, economic growth and political relations can only be built in the area where we can ensure peace and harmony. Now you will see that because India's stakes are already growing into the Gulf region. Therefore, we need to take certain measures to curb terrorism, money laundering, cyber security needs to be ensured. For that, what we are doing, we are having defense exercises also. India's mega multilateral exercise, that is Milan exercise, in which Oman participates, Saudi Arabia participates, Iran participates, so many countries are participating. It's a multilateral exercise. Apart from that, bilateral exercises are also happening. On annual basis, we have India and Oman exercise, where all the three wings of the defense participates. Access to the port. Now understand, with soft power diplomacy, what we are achieving to counter the Djibouti port of China. What we want that? Access to the Dakh port. Now India has access to Dakh port. Therefore, slowly India is also making inroads into the Gulf nations. Cultural cooperation. If I talk about cultural cooperation or people to people connect, learn these kind of words. People to people connect. Cultural diplomacy. While we were talking about SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, there also we talked about cultural diplomacy because Varanasi was declared as a cultural capital of the SCO. Similarly, here you will find that trade relations have been there. Previous, since Indus Valley civilization, we had trade relations with Dilmun to in present times, which is Bahrain. We have trade relations with Dilmun. So, religious significance. If I talk about Mecca, Medina, okay. So, these are the pilgrimage places for many of the Indian citizens also who are visiting there on regular basis, Mecca and Medina. So, for India, there is a lot of significance into this relationship. Pandemic. Let's talk about the cooperation during the pandemic. Supply of essential medicines, health professionals, and rapid response team has been there. Rapid response team. Okay, more than 15-member rapid response team we have sent there. Health professionals. If I talk about during pandemic, more than 6,000 health professionals have been sent into the Middle Eastern relations, so that in this region we can build a tie, better ties with it. So this was a basic overview in which we talked about certain data, what were the developments, recent developments. Now let's also understand the aspect of what is the significance of this relationship. What is the significance of this relationship? Significance of Gulf region for India. First significance is its diaspora. Delhi is eager to improve the conditions of its working labor force into the Middle Eastern region because they are giving us remittances. Economic diversification. Students understand this economic diversification is very important. Now, the ideological shift that I had been telling you, the departure from traditional approaches. Okay. It is because of this principle, economic diversification into the Middle Eastern countries. What economic diversification we are talking about? Understand, in 2016, Economic Survey talked about Dutch disease. A state or a country which is rich in particular kind of natural resources, it becomes over dependent on that resources. Gulf region is very much rich into the crude oil, but are they solely focusing upon that only? No, they are diversifying. This is what we are talking. They are investing in renewable energy resources. Smart cities they are building. If you talk about Dubai, smart cities. Okay. So what is happening? They are diversifying there. They are attracting tourists also. Tourism sector. So different sectors diversification is there. They are opening up. They are giving liberal rights to the women. They are not just opening up in terms of economy. They are opening in terms of the principles also, political principles also. They are aligning. Therefore, this provides India a significant opportunity to tap into this potentiality. Moreover, understand, India is the fastest major growing economy of the world right now. So if economic diversification is happening, okay, better trade opportunities means better give and take can happen. Whatever investments they are doing, it will be better for India to tap in those investments. Investment opportunities, better investment opportunities. Now you understand one thing. The political negligence can be very, very costly, especially in the foreign policy diplomacy. Because of just a visit from India to UAE, okay, to Abu Dhabi, because of just visit and having a handshake and saying that yes, India is ready to have a very good trade relationships and provide better investment opportunities for the Gulf region. India got investment of $75 billion. You get my point? Riyadh has already committed $100 billion. Refineries are being made. Therefore, India is getting funds from the Gulf. Political influence. Now, understand that Gulf region, how the political changes are happening. If India is not a part of that change, the development process, therefore, Gulf's financial power that it is growing, it is increasingly translating into political influence. The political power with stature with which it is growing, it is translating it into the political power, and it can shape the broader political narrative into the whole of the Middle East. Whether we talk from Afghanistan, if we start from Afghanistan to back Lebanon, from Afghanistan to Lebanon, from Syria to Somalia, this is a big area where India wants its presence. From Afghanistan to Lebanon, from Syria to Somalia, and India want to be the part of this political narrative that is being affected over there. Ability to influence regional conflicts. So many conflicts are there happening. Civil war into Syria, you see. The Lebanon crisis, because the countries around the Israel, whether it be Gaza Strip, whether it be Lebanon, whether it be Syria, so many political unrest are happening. The Arab world and Iran conflict is happening. So these things needs to be addressed properly only by developing better relationships. Geostrategic importance. Students understand. In IR, international relations, this geostrategic importance is, quite of significance. Geostrategic importance for India on two fronts, we are talking specifically. Two fronts. First, to reduce Chinese entrance, to reduce Chinese influence into this region. China has already made so much inroads into West Asia, into Middle East, and you understand, gateway to the Central Asian region. Now you understand India has two borders, one front with Pakistan, one front with China, very little with Afghanistan. How do we make inroads into Central Asian region? It is energy club. Along with Russia, Central Asian region is the energy club. Tomorrow, if India also is diversifying its renewable energy, then we need to get access to these regions. Therefore, to make inroads to Central Asian region, it is very important. These are the two geostrategic important points over here. On one hand, because we had been discussing the significance of Gulf region for India. What about India's significance for the Gulf region? Why should Gulf move forward with us? We have to understand both the perspectives to balance. Strategic partnership. Now, to become a strategic partner, does India possess certain qualities as a nation? Understand that India is, first of all, if I am talking geostrategically, IORA, Indian Ocean Rim Association, India is a maritime partner. Okay, with 2.6 trillion economy, robust defense apparatus. Yes, India is fit to be the strategic partner of Middle Eastern regions, Gulf regions. Okay. Just like economic diversification happening over here, India is also diversifying its energy portfolio. This diversification, along with maritime partnership and robust defense apparatus, India is fit to be the strategic partner of Gulf region. Economic benefits. If I talk about economic benefits, understand that, India will be a developed nation by 2047. We are expecting that. But before that, while developing nation, we need more and more investment opportunities, and it will give a positive long-term benefit to the Gulf nation for investing in India. Once you become a developed nation, for example, the growth prospects I'm talking about in US is less in comparison to India. Therefore, for the Gulf region, economic benefit will be more for the investments. That will be giving them long-term benefits. So we have discussed significance of Persian Gulf region from the perspective of India and from the perspective of the Gulf, both the perspectives. That's why it needs to be balanced. Here, understand that certain challenges are there. It's not that easy. India needs to act like a balancing wheel. Here, I'm giving you 2 3 points that you need to understand. One is about strategic autonomy. India, although has participated with US for the extension of Abraham Accords into I2 U2. I2 means Israel, India. U2 means UAE and US. So their resolution process was going on between Arab Israel conflict, how to resolve that matter. But India is acting as just as a balancing wheel, strategic autonomy. India does not possess economic prowess or military power. Although modernization of both the things are happening, once India get that influence into the Middle Eastern region, therefore India's significance will improve a lot. Now let's look into the challenges. Role of external players. Here, you will see that Pakistan factor. First factor we are looking into the Pakistan factor. What is happening? Pakistan is playing sophisticated, you know, sophisticated balance of power game. How it is playing this sophisticated balance of power? What is happening that Pakistan is utilizing the platform of Organization for Islamic Cooperation, which is quite a big organization for Islamic countries. Pakistan is uniting and coordinating precisely with certain countries on the issue of Pakistan occupied Kashmir, from where it is launching state sponsored terrorism in India. Therefore, understand that what it is doing Pakistan is connecting religion with Kashmir with Middle East, and therefore it is called a sophisticated balance of power game. To counter that, India needs to sit on the same table. India needs to develop its own diplomacy into the Middle Eastern regions, put up their own problems so that it can be countered over there. This is a challenge for India because its neighborhood, okay, Pakistan, is creating a religious problem. Moreover, you need to understand that Middle Eastern relationship, why today we see a departure from the traditional approach. Reason is that now we are not looking towards the Middle East or Persian Gulf only from the perspective of religion, fundamental religion, or remittances. Now we are entering into the trade partnerships. Economic diversification prospects are there where India want to tap in. Therefore, the changes into the Middle Eastern, whatever is happening, it is providing India an opportunity to enter the Middle East regions. Role of China. Next is role of China. China has a growing footprint into the Gulf region. This footprint, you can see that into the Iran. We were trying to build the port. Okay. We know that Chabar port. We were trying to build the port. With India, there is a strategic flaw like Kaladan multimodal project or Tapi gas line project. So we are not, able to complete those projects on timely basis. Here also, recently what has happened, Iran has entered with China 25-year strategic partnerships. 25-year strategic partnership. Little bit game is different because of economic sanctions on the Iran. China is coming closer to Iran. Recently, Iran also became the member of SCO. There, as I told you, possibility of Iran coming closer to China and Russia. And in between, because Russia, China, Pakistan axis already exist, to counter that also India need to be part of the Middle East or have cooperation with the Gulf Cooperation Council also. Now let's talk about some American policy also. Understand that one of America's direct involvement in the Middle Eastern region is paving a very difficult way for India to counterbalance the strategy. Direct involvement of USA and counterbalance the strategy. Now understand what. On one hand, India is coming closer to Israel. India is coming closer with Israel. Here we also understand US has direct support for this relation, Indo-Israel relationships. Okay. On the other hand, Israel is also attacking Palestine. This counterbalancing strategy is difficult for India over here because of American influence. Moreover, you understand that, you know, India did not want previously to be friends with US because India already has good relations with Russia. And if India and US are coming closer, it means that somewhere Russia and China will also come close to each other. Therefore, this has been the difficulty. Let's look at internal issues. Maintaining relations with Iran. You understand that amid different kinds of sanctions from the US. Okay, the geopolitical rivalries, internal rivalries between Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Israel, internal rivalries and sanctions. It makes it very difficult to maintain better relations with particularly Iran. And as I told you recently, Iran has, signed a strategic partnership for 25 years with China also. Internal issues, diaspora. The safety and security of diaspora, Indian diaspora is very important. Recently, when there was attack on the Israel by the Hamas, what India did? Operation Ajay. Operation Ajay. India sent planes that whatever Indians are residing into Israel can onboard the plane and come back to India with safety and security. So we need to ensure, despite political unrest, despite so much civil wars, internal rivalries, the safety and security of Indian diaspora, because they are giving lot of remittances also. Other issues, regional conflicts. We all understand that different kinds of regional conflicts are happening, whether between Arab and Israel, Saudi, Iran, these kind of regional conflicts are a problem. Protectionist measures, just like you know certain reservation, local reservation of jobs are creating problem. Protectionist measures. Okay, different kinds of Gulf Cooperation Council, those who are member of it, they are reserving jobs for their own citizens, for that matter. Security concern in general, we have discussed security. Radicalization, fundamentalism, increased incidences of terrorism is a matter of concern to both India and the Gulf countries as well. One important challenge during corona crisis, what we have seen is Gulf countries, because they are Gulf countries overall are the largest exporter of petroleum crude oil right now. During COVID crisis, the demand for the crude oil reduced. Because demand reduced, therefore price of crude oil also reduced. Because these countries were not earning enough, therefore the people from India, the Indian diaspora also could not earn enough, and hence it is impacting the remittances to the India. It impacted. So any kind of global challenge is there, whether it be corona crisis, whether it be energy crisis, all the impact is related to the Middle East countries. We see a direct impact on the Middle East nations, and indirectly if we are too much dependent upon it also, that would create a problem for us. Okay, so let's look at what could be the way forward. Support in modernization. Delhi has long seen the Gulf as a source of extremist religious ideology. Delhi has, no, for long we have been looking at as extremist religion ideology. Now we need to change support in the modernization from extremist religious ideology to the departure from that. Now, India is, trying to reverse this course and promote political and social modernization at home and in the region. Political and social modernization. Political and social modernization. And India must support this change that is happening over there. Discard old perceptions. Here I am saying about change in the change in the traditional approach. From the traditional approach which we followed previously, we need a change. And hence, India needs to recalibrate its ties with the Gulf region. The real challenge is to get the rest of the Indian establishment, the thinkers, the experts, the think tanks, the organizations, that yes, the change is happening. We need to believe, we have to discard this old perception. Even the columnists, the journalists who are writing into the newspapers, we need to entirely change this old perception, the outdated perception of Gulf, and seize the new strategic opportunities. Seize the new strategic possibilities, rather. Seize the new strategic possibilities. Into the foreign policy also, we need to bring certain change. India should, India should not make a policy based on a particular kind of religion. India had been a secular state. India should be a secular state. It should be based on secular. Okay. We have to maintain a neutrality, non-partisanship with that country also. Non-aligned and non-ideological policy. Non-aligned and non-ideological policy. Non-ideological. Secular, non-aligned, non-ideological policy. Where? Because into the division, into the religion, basically division in the religion, whether it be Muslims, Jews, or the sectarian division, whether it be Shia or Sunni. In these matters, India should not look into the Western nations, Middle Eastern nations, from the perspective of the differences into the religion or the sectarian. Therefore, it should follow a secular approach, a proper secular approach, and driven by totally economic calculations. It should be driven by economic calculations. This is called the recalibrated strategy. So always use this word here into recalibrated. Recalibrated strategy is dependent on economic calculations, not on the basis of religious and sectarian divisions. Okay. Radical or fundamental religion we are talking about. Liberal religion, yes, India, all kinds of religions are there. So therefore, this is our economic calculator based on the strategic recalibrated approach rather than a political rhetoric. We should not be following a political rhetoric, and this will strengthen the relationship between India and the Gulf. The countries know that economic and diplomatic potentials of India is very much important for the Gulf region as well. So, guys, this has been the way forward, how we should be going forward with the Indo Middle East relationship, in India Gulf Persian Gulf relationship, and we should proceed further into it with our diplomatic ties, economic and cultural relations, and political dialogue. So thank you so much, and please join our Telegram channel t.me/Shunya Notes 50. And for the notes, what will happen, that there are Shunya books available. Okay, into those books you will get the notes, and you can take running notes from our lectures right now, and also join the integrated current affairs program. The second batch is soon going to launch. You can inquire at the given number. Here on this number you can inquire about it, I hope it is visible. Let me write it again here. 8279688595. This is the number 8279688595. So you can inquire about integrated current affairs. It's a very important course for your examination, prelims cum mains examination, for the current affairs. Comprehensive package for all your understanding, and in the classroom itself, MCQ writing, not just the learning of the prelims examination, but also about answer writing. MCQ solving for prelims and answer writing for mains. Both the things you are going to learn. Thank you, and do join the course.